What's up guys, Ruppy here, welcoming you to my second battle in the luxury pool for the BBR Summer Scramble 2023. And I'll be honest with you, things aren't feeling all that luxurious right about now. Our first battle I attempted to do on admittedly fairly rushed prep that I did not think through as much as I probably should have. That is on me for not being smarter about how I schedule my games for the leagues I'm in. That is a lesson I have learned the hard way. We'll try to avoid that in the future and better space my games out so I have time to prep, especially considering my absurd work schedule half the time. But we are 0-1 at -2 differential. Not the worst scenario we could be in, but it does, considering some of the other games that have been played out in this pool so far, I'm pretty sure I have to win these next 2 games to for sure lock in a chance at being able to move on to the bracket stage. And we are going to see how well that works out right now as we take on CoriJobman. I am blanking on the team name because the doc does not give team names. So, well, it does. I just have to find what pool Cori drafted in. I'm sure it will appear on screen and in the thumbnail and all that. I will figure it out at some point. Regardless, let's go ahead and get into the team builder, shall we? So, Cori's team consists of the following: Iron Valiant, Ceruledge, Urshifu-Rapid-Strike, Hisuian-Gudra, Shaman, Clodsire, Morpeko, and Cloth. So, we've got an Iron Valiant mirror match on our hands. Ceruledge is also their Tera captain. I should make note of that. Obviously, I'm not going to know what type they can Tera into until Cori tells me before the game, assuming Ceruledge is coming. Which, part of me feels like it might. But I think I've got a way to handle it. Urshifu is a problem in any and every form. There's no doubting that. Hisuian-Gudra is a very solid tank, especially on the special end. Clodsire's Unaware is absurdly annoying. Shaman, base 100 across the board, always a solid mon. But I think I've got the tools to crack this puzzle. So let's go ahead and discuss them, shall we? Starting off with Heatran. I'm going Tera Grass for this game, just because it's primarily for Urshifu more than anything else, I feel like. And also to get rid of Heatran's ground weakness, and its fighting weakness, because Ceruledge does have access to fighting moves. Urshifu obviously is a fighting type, so it has access to fighting moves. Hisuian-Gudra gets Earthquake, Shaman gets Earth Power, Clodsire gets Earthquake, Iron Valiant with its fighting moves. This is basically a way to kind of remove that. Tera Grass, if I play it correctly, I could probably outpredict Urshifu-Rapid-Strike with the right timing to be able to take a Surging Strikes or maybe a fighting move better and kind of go from there. Lava Plume, Earth Power, Flash Cannon, and Stealth Rock is the set. I've got leftovers. I'm running Flash Fire, which, especially after I Tera, pretty much completely shuts down Ceruledge. So I am not too concerned about that mon. It could run Flash Fire itself. It could also run Weak Armor. But honestly, Flash Fire isn't as big of a concern, considering I do have Earth Power. Pending what Ceruledge could Tera into, I could also just chip it down from there with Flash Cannon if necessary. It all depends on what kind of set they bring, but I am fairly confident that it cannot touch Heatran. Shaman certainly can't touch Heatran either. Yes, it does get the likes of Earth. It does get Earth Power in its own right, but again, Tera Grass removes that, and it could also run Air Slash, but again, we're getting in a prediction game, and it's a matter of, would they really run Air Slash on Shaman, or would they perhaps go something like, say, Dazzling Gleam for my own Iron Valiant, and my Dragonite for that matter. So there's definitely some potential move slot syndrome going on with Shaman that I can exploit if I play my cards right. Heatran's primarily especially bulky. I've got some defense EVs in there, which I believe will allow me to take the ground attacks from the likes of Hisui and Goodra and Clodsire if they want to throw out Earthquakes. I think I can also take a high horsepower from Cloth with this spread. The 8 special attack EVs are just there as a means of giving me a little extra oomph, which I think actually does make a difference in allowing this Heatran set to get some crucial KOs if the need arises. Moving on, though, we have Donphan next, finally coming to a game. Leftovers, sturdy for the ability. This thing is basically here to spin hazards away, because I'm pretty sure Cloth can set rocks, Clodsire can set all 3 hazards, but Donphan can 1v1 both of them, considering the main reason Donphan came, and also why I have Earth Power on Heatran, is Cori's team, if you take a good look at it, has a very noticeable and very exploitable ground weakness. And believe me when I say I plan on cashing in on that. Ceruledge could remove its ground weakness, depending what it tears into, but Hisui and Goodra, Shaman, Clodsire, Morpeko, Cloth, none of them want to be taking ground hits. And with a good mix of physical and special, I feel I can certainly hit something stupidly hard and rip through this team. I'm also running Knockoff on Donphan to be able to remove any items, kind of hinder some things. Rapid Spin, obviously, to get rid of hazards, because Donphan's my only hazard removal. It can 1v1 Cori's 2 hazard setters, so we can easily take care of things from there. I've got some more special bulk, mostly to take hits from the likes of Hisui and Goodra, and then threaten it with Earthquake. I'm also running Play Rough on this set, which is primarily to try to catch Urshifu-Rapid-Strike on the switch-in. I can take fighting attacks from Urshifu. I cannot take a Surging Strikes, especially if it's banded, because that will easily get past Sturdy. But if, for whatever reason, Cori tries to switch in Urshifu, and on maybe a predicted Knockoff or Rapid Spin, and I catch it with a Play Rough instead, Urshifu is certainly not going to appreciate that, and it certainly cannot take 2 of them, even with only 24 attack EVs, even though I am adamant. Speaking of mons that did not come last week and are finally coming to a BBR Summer Scramble game, we have Muck. I'm running Black Sludge because, if Muck's not going to possess the ability to Tera because I didn't declare it my Tera Captain, Earthquake, or Black Sludge and Leftovers are practically interchangeable at that point. I know Black Sludge has kind of been phased out competitively, mostly because of the Tera aspect, but it's got a purpose here. I'm running Poison Touch, which gives me 30% chance of poisoning with any contact moves. That plus the 30% chance to poison from Poison Jab will hopefully allow me to spread some poison through Cori's team and put things on timers. I also have Drain Punch to get some extra recovery, and also pop Hisui and Goodra quite nicely, and Claw for that matter. Knockoff is also to remove items. I'm also running Toxic Spikes to, again, further spread poison through this team. I feel like with Heatran potentially burning things with Lava Plume, and Muck just trying to poison things in general, I feel like I can spread status quite thoroughly through Cori's team if I play my cards right, and be able to take full advantage of all the chip I would rack up from that. This is a fully Spadef Muck. I can take close combats from Urshifu, but I would probably prefer not to, and I certainly don't want to be eating Surging Strikes. But this Muck set pretty handily shuts down Iron Valiant, actually, even if it wants to throw off Psyshocks. I think Cori would have to run Specs Psyshock with Valiant to threaten a potential OHKO on Muck. If it's not running Specs, I can take it. So that allows me to eat that and then immediately threaten with a Poison Jab, which Valiant does not want to take. I should know. I've got my own. So yeah, Muck is here. Well, another benefit to Muck is the fact that, of course, if Cori tries to pull Toxic Spikes with Clodsire, Muck can absorb them. Granted, Clodsire can do the same, but I'm not really planning on spreading Toxic Spikes until I can confirm either Clodsire is 1, not coming, or 2, off the field. or I could at least force a switch into Clodsire to get rid of the Toxic Spikes, which I can then take advantage of by knocking off its item, or if I predict it well enough, I can double into Donphan and immediately threaten it, scare it out with Earthquake. I feel like if I can win the Hazard Control war, I can take this game. So that's the defensive half of my team. Let's turn towards the offensive half, starting with Choice Scarf Rotom Mow. Nothing particularly fancy about this set. It's max speed, max special attack, 4 HP EVs, Leaf Storm, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. I put Trick on there mostly to potentially try to cripple one of his slower, more defensive Mons if I feel it's necessary. But that would probably be more after Rotom has done its job, which is try to outspeed Iron Valiant, assuming Cori is not running Scarf Valiant or Booster Energy Valiant. Rotom can outrun it. I think if Cori actually runs Scarf or Booster Energy, I think this Rotom set can actually take a hit from it and threaten it with Leaf Storm, because Valiant's special defense is not the greatest. I should know. I have my own right down here. But yeah, I can outside of Clodsire, I can freely Volt Switch all over this team. Scarf allows me to certainly threaten Urshifu-Rapid-Strike unless Cori scarfs that, but I've got ways of handling that if the need arises. So yeah, that is Rotom's role here. Pivot around, threaten things with Leaf Storm, and basically try to set up my team for success. Also, because of the Levitate ability, the only hazard that Rotom would need to worry about is rocks, so I have that working for me. Next up is the Mon that I feel I will probably win this game. It's basically the win con I'm aiming for. Weakness Policy, Dragon Dance, Dragonite. How long has it been since you've seen a Weakness Policy Dragonite? Probably not since the Sword and Shield days when, or at least in terms of when it was allowed to Dynamax and basically abuse the extra bulk to easily get Weakness Policy, set up max Airstreams, and go to town. But this Dragonite set actually works very nicely here. 192 speed EVs allow me to outrun a non-Scarf or non-Booster Energy Iron Valiant with 1 Dragon Dance. And by virtue, that also allows me to outrun the entirety of Cori's team that's not Scarfed. I've got Extreme Speed primarily in the case of a Scarf or Booster Energy Valiant. Earthquake and Ice Spinner pretty much cover the entire team as well as I could ever need them to. Basically, the name of the game is get a Dragon Dance up. With Multiscale, I can easily live any hit from pretty much any Mon. I think the only Mon that could potentially get through Multiscale, and I think it's a roll, I believe I calculated it as a roll with this HP investment, would be a Banded Ice Punch from Urshifu-Rapid-Strike if Cori brings that prep. But even then, if I get a Dragon Dance up, as long as I can eat the hit, which, again, outside of maybe that scenario, I should be able to. Weakness Policy will proc, Dragonite will get to +3, and with +1 speed, Dragonite is free to pretty much go to town on everything. Ideally, Chip on Urshifu-Rapid-Strike would be preferable, because it's really the only Mon that has that. So there's 2 Mons on this team I would actually need prior Chip on, honestly, to outright KO once this Dragonite is set up and good to go. That being Urshifu-Rapid-Strike, because Urshifu does have stupidly good physical bulk, and Clodsire because of the Unaware ability. But, because I'm Adamant Max Attack, Clodsire really can't take 2 Earthquakes anyway, so I do have that going for me. Everything else is O-code by at least 1 move. That does include Iron Valiant being picked off by Extreme Speed. At +3, E-Speed will O-co. And if I'm going to be challenged by a team bearing Iron Valiant, I might as well bring my own from my draft pool. So I'm running the mixed attacking set again. I'm running Life Orb again, just so I'm not locked into any moves and get the extra oomph on my attacks. Really the only difference outside of the EV, since I'm just going max on everything in the case of a potential Iron Valiant mirror match. The only real change I made is subbing out Thunderbolt for Shadow Ball, because the only thing I would really need Thunderbolt for is Urshifu-Rapid-Strike, and Moonblast already cleans that thing up because of Stab. Shadow Ball is there, so I have a means of potentially threatening Ceruledge if I can catch it before it can Tera. And also, depending what Tera type it is, I could also go from there. Like, let's say Ceruledge decides to go Tera Ghost for some reason. Because Ceruledge is kind of the only spin blocker that would worry Donphan, even if Donphan has the advantage in that matchup, barring Tera. So that at least allows Iron Valiant a means to hit it, and go from there as necessary. So, that is my team. We will see how well it works out. Fingers crossed, because I really need this win. And let's go ahead and hop over to the battle now, and see if I can pull this off. Alright, so, it is battle time. Been way too long since I've gotten to say that. So, we are going to get this underway against Cori. Alright. So, we have Iron Valiant, Clodsire, Shaman, more Pico, Urshifu-Rapid-Strike, and Ceruledge. Bit delayed on that, but we were exchanging our Tera information. So I do know Ceruledge is Tera Ghost. Regardless, I'm good to just lead Rotom. Because it is Scarf, I can just Volt Switch out on anything that is not named Clodsire. And if it does come to, if I do see Clodsire, I can just flat switch into Donphan and we can go from there. Okay, Cori got their team in. Cool, 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 cool. So, good luck, have fun, Cori. And let's get down to business. Oh, wow, wasting no time with the Urshifu. Okay. So, honestly, this is a really good matchup for me. I could easily just Leaf Storm here. I'm gonna click Volt Switch because I don't see this. Yeah, I don't see it staying in. Let me guess. Clodsire comes in right here. Yup, that's obvious. That's fine. I didn't want to make that risk anyway. I figured it would work out for me. I'm just gonna go straight into Donphan here. Because I can take whatever this Clodsire wants to throw at me. I definitely scare it out with Earthquake if he wants to set up Hazard. If Claude wants to set up hazards, then Donphan can do it. Toxic Spikes. That is fine with me. Because I could spin these away. Alternatively, I'm going to go ahead and knock off, because I can just bring in Muck to absorb these. And this way, yep, on the switch, I can just catch whatever comes in and get rid of its item right away, which is going to be Shaman. So, do not mind that in the slightest. Getting rid of whatever Shaman's item is going to be nice. Leftovers! A Shaman without leftovers. I can certainly appreciate that. I feel this is definitely a bulkier set because of that. Maybe a Subseed set? Well, I suppose we could go ahead and find out right about now. I could send in Heatran. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and send in Muck. Absorb these Toxic Spikes, see what the Shaman wants to do, and then maybe scare it out with a Poison Jab. So here comes, oh, wow! Oh, Muck eats this Seed Flare for days. And no Spadef drop, which is very much appreciated. I did not expect Muck to be that big. To be frank, I haven't used Muck in any capacity. So, yeah, that's fun to know. So, I'm just going to go ahead and Poison Jab, because it scares Shaman out. Back into Claude, that is fine. That is completely fine with me. I'm gonna get more Black Sludge recovery. And since I know I can take an Earthquake... Actually, that's the interesting question. Do I stay in, take the Earthquake, and just knock off? Or do I just go straight into... Donphan on the... Let's... Honestly, just going into Donphan is probably my safer pick. As Cori's gonna double. Back into Shaman? Nope, into Urshifu! Okay, caught me on that one. Nicely done. Alright. So, obviously this is a scenario that does not work out well for me. I'm going to go ahead and send Muck back in, because I need to keep Donphan for hazard removal. If I die to Surging Strikes, that is fine. If Cori tries to predict... Well, there's really no need to predict. Just, yep, go for Surging Strikes. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. That is perfectly fine. Honestly, I could probably go into Iron Valiant right now and scare this thing out. I could do that. I could also go into Rotom. I'm going to go into Iron Valiant. Scare this thing out. So what would be the switch in then? I would imagine Clodsire. Which kind of makes me want to Psyshock, honestly. Which would hit this thing if it stays in. I could also see Ceruledge. I'm going to gamble a bit in Psyshock. I'm going to call the Clodsire switch. I would think the only reason Urshifu stays in is if it's sashed, or if Cori's running Scarf. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure Urshifu switches out right here and now. There's no way it stays in and eats a Moonblast. None. Yep, there it goes. Show me the Clodsire. Shaman. Fair enough. I mean, that's still good damage off on Shaman. And since it's without leftovers, I can Moonblast and KO this thing from here without having to risk any defense drops. So there goes Shaman. That thing is no longer a concern. Iron Valiant has been chipped down a bit, unfortunately, because of the Life Orb, but it is fine. Shaman is out of the picture, which makes my life a little easier. That is one less thing kind of bothering Donphan at this point. So, ball's in Cori's court now. They know I'm not Scarf, so they're going to go into Ceruledge. Which is perfectly fine. I'm half expecting a Tera. And I'm just going to go ahead and go into Heatran. Because I could see them just using this to try to set up. There is no way... I mean, maybe they predict a switch into Heatran and go something like Close Combat. If this thing has it. I would imagine setup would be the more likely option. as they go ahead and Tera into Tera Ghost. Which is fine. And they are going to Poltergeist. Okay. Okay. That hurt quite a bit more than I thought it would. And now we might have a problem. I forgot how powerful Poltergeist is. So that kind of puts a dent in things. I'm just going to go ahead and try to get my rocks up. And see how this plays out. That is going to KO. That one's on me for not seeing Poltergeist coming. I will admit that right here and now. Didn't even bother tearing Heatran. There was no point to it. Okay. So this kind of works against my plan of Dragonite. Shadow Ball will do a lot of damage, but it will not OHKO. I'm going to go into Donphan. Donphan is physically bulky for this reason. So I can definitely threaten this thing with a knockoff. It knows I have... They know I have it. We'll do a huge chunk of damage to this thing. And depending on the roll, I think it's favorable for me if they want to stay in. That I can take 2 Poltergeists. Depending on how this plays out, we'll probably determine what I do from here. But I'm pretty sure it's a game of... They're just going to withdraw. Which is fine. So I can note that. Into more Pico! Okay, interesting play. So I definitely... That's a crit. I severely doubt that mattered. It was Life Orb. I'm just going to go ahead and Earthquake because it KOs. They will be able to hit me with Aura Wheel, but I can take that. That speed boost does not matter because Donphan is about to obliterate this thing. And there we go. There goes more Pico. Thank you for that, Donphan. Get that HP recovery back. And I would not be surprised to see Urshifu again, honestly. Yep, there it is. Urshifu is kind of the problem child right now. So, Surging Strikes feels obvious. This is where... Okay, this is where things get a little tricky. I mean, Dragonite could just wall it all day long, but I guess it's a matter of do I want to preserve things. Because with Donphan, I could take a close combat if they overpredict. I can't take a Surging Strikes. I'm going to stand in knockoff. I want to see what item this thing is. Yep, there's the Surging Strikes. So, I'm going to lose Donphan. Okay, this is starting to get out of my hands here, and I'm not a fan of that. And with Clodsire still lingering around, that causes some problems. Let me see something real quick here. Because right now, Iron Valiant might be my key to turning this around. Yeah, I'm going to go into Valiant. The fact that they switched this thing out is telling me this thing is not Scarfed or Sashed. Okay, so I know... So, Ceruledge, their own Valiant is still not showing up. I'm just gonna go ahead and Moonblast. I'm not even gonna waste the time. Goodbye, Urshifu. Get out of here. Please and thank you. So, that is one issue solved. There is still the issue, however, of Ceruledge, which is my concern at the moment. They're going into their own Valiant. And they are Quark Drive. And that is a speed boost. So they are definitely faster than me. That is a for sure. So now the question becomes, do I want to let Valiant go? And honestly, I think I'm fine with that. I think I'm fine with letting my Valiant go. Because this pretty much gives me the scenario I was looking for. Because I can definitely take a Moonblast. Yeah. This is where I send in Dragonite and the fun begins. Actually, Extreme Speed is a roll. It's a roll in my favor, but... Okay, I need to make a few calcs quick before I make this play, because this could change a lot. Okay, I honestly think my better play is taking the hit and going for Earthquake. Because, yep, I will take that. That is a special attack drop. That does not matter because I don't have any special attack anyway. That is going to proc my weakness policy. So this Earthquake has a chance to OHKO now. And that is exactly what it's going to do. So Ceruledge comes in now. Still curious as to what kind of set this thing is. The good thing to note, though, is that my weakness policy was burned, which means I have no item, which means this thing cannot... Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and Earthquake, because it obliterates this thing. Yeah, Poltergeist doesn't work because my item was burned up. So, Dragonite's gonna Earthquake. There goes Ceruledge. And I think my Dragonite strategy paid off. Because all that remains now, I believe, is Clodsire, which... It does have Unaware... But Earthquake, I don't think you can really do anything. I mean, Earthquake's still a 2-hit KO. We go ahead and Earthquake, and yep, Cloudsire's gonna take it. That is fine. I can eat this poison jab. The poison is unfortunate, but it's too little too late. Good game, Cori. I will admit, definitely had me on my toes with the Ceruledge strategy. Somehow I didn't realize that thing got Poltergeist. That is on me. That is on me. But I pulled off the Dragonite strategy, and I am so happy for that. And that is that. So, a 2-0 win does mean I erased the differential I lost against QSN. So I am now 1-1 at a neutral, at basically 0 differential. Not the best, but it helps. Really, ultimately, I think it's going to boil down, what's going to happen here is going to boil down to what happens with my game with Blazeman. Because Blazeman could still theoretically go 2-1 if I beat them and they beat QSN, and then it would be a game of differential, which could be a problem. So we will have to see how that plays out. But that is going to do it for this battle. Thank you guys so very much for watching. GG again to Cori. I have been Ruppy, and my Columbus 2 and I will see you guys next time. Take care.